Looks Like Me by Annette Pearce of Picton, 2571. Narrated by Janine Penfold. There are few certainties in life. According to Benjamin Franklin, taxes and death are guaranteed. I would add change. The world does not stay the same. Indeed, Darwin's theory of evolution is based on the adaptation of living organisms within a changing environment. My mother is like many of her generation. Born in the 1930s, a childhood overshadowed by World War II and the austerity that followed. Her father worked in the aircraft industry, an essential war service, and was excluded from the moral dilemma of signing up or staying home. By the mid-1950s, she had married, started a family, and put a deposit on a quarter-acre block of land. Originally a few acres, the scruffy bush property had been chopped up for development, with a rough gully untouched in the centre, its owner residing in a seemingly impenetrable concrete bunker in the guise of a garage. Having grown up close to a railway line in suburban Sydney, she knew the advantage of living near established and reliable transport, and the plot was not too far away from her parents. It was an era of one-car families, with the vehicle reserved for the husband, the breadwinner. A standard 3-bedroom fibro house was constructed. After shared living for the first few years of marriage with her parents and siblings, the modest house was palatial. Australia's population was booming with post-war immigrants from all over the world, particularly the United Kingdom and Europe, arriving. Houses replaced paddocks and scrub, and neighbourhoods were created. The couple who built across the road were from Malta. Communication was difficult to begin with. However, their English improved, as did Mum's ability to understand the accent. A lifelong friendship formed. Over time, and with the benefit of 2 incomes, the home was extended. First, it was closing the back veranda in to give some extra living space. Then, an extra bedroom was added to accommodate a family of 5, along with a separate laundry and second toilet. Eventually, the entire house was clad in red brick. Nobody knew back then that the grey asbestos sheets, skillfully covered by the bricklayer, were dangerous, now considered toxic. A little bit of unruly ground remained in the centre of the original subdivision, land deemed non-profitable to developers and seemingly locked in by paling fences and 1950s zoning regulations. The 1960s and 1970s saw similar improvements up and down the street. Hills hoists rotated in the breeze, with cotton nappies neatly pegged in a line, giving way to school uniforms, and carefully hand-washed Sunday bests. Push bikes and scooters replaced prams. The railway ran past the end of our street. Mum caught the train every day to work in Sydney. Some of the first residents to build only stayed a few years, others a few decades. Some stayed, but are now deceased. Children grew up and moved away, usually not down the road or in a nearby suburb. Housing prices, like everything else, rise. For some, the dream of buying 1,000 square metres meant compromising and moving further away from the city. Some didn't quite need so much breathing space or want the responsibility of maintaining lawns, finding happiness in an apartment. In a city, cheek to jowl, hear your neighbour's TV style of living. Others wanted room to ride horses, raise cattle, reverting to the rural lifestyle away from our overcrowded capital. Over time, the face of the neighbourhood changed. Modest houses on big blocks had add-ons that doubled their size. The gully was rezoned, carved up, and 8 Tiny dwellings with a shared access sprouted up, usurping all manner of feral animals and plants. The introduction of dual occupancy to alleviate the housing crisis saw old homes bought not for their potential renovation, but the square metres of ground on which they sat. Narrow sites with narrow houses, built with unimaginable proximity. The face of the neighbours changed too. Suburban Sydney reflected the shift to a more multicultural society. In the 1960s, an immigrant neighbour might have grown an unfamiliar vegetable over their fence or drank grappa instead of beer. They may not have attended the Church of England or Catholic Church we were used to, but they didn't look that different. As a minority, they didn't have a large representation in business, but they assimilated into society. Some European expats wanted to keep their traditional food and customs, settling down in certain suburbs, fostering an environment of shops and services that supported their culture. Delicatessen with strange cheeses, piquant olives and mottled dried meats became normal. Garlic, zucchini, eggplant, once unknown, now supermarket staples. Each new wave of immigrants arriving brought new culture, food, fashion, music, religion and business. 65 years later, Mum still lives in the same house. While she quietly raised her children, worked a full-time job until retirement age, tended her garden and politely interacted with her fellow human beings, her neighbourhood changed. The area is dominated by migrants from one geographical area. The local shopping centre is almost unrecognisable. The natural economics of supply and demand supporting business predominantly foreign to her. Shop fronts with a flourish of signage not in English, not even Latin script, an unrecognisable format. My mother is stoic, gentle, intelligent, softly spoken and compassionate. Raised to be considerate of everyone else, now, when she goes down the street, she feels estranged from what was once familiar. Her comment, "You won't see anyone who looks like me," lingers in my heart. The end.